A song comes on, or you catch a certain smell, and out of nowhere, you are flooded with this deep ache for a time in your life that, if you are being really honest, was not even that good. A year you spent mostly complaining about, and yet part of you would give almost anything to go back to it. So, why does your brain paint the past gold, especially the parts that were never golden at all? In the next few minutes, I am going to show you why the past feels so much better than it actually was, why one specific stretch of your life feels the most magical, and the genuinely comforting reason your brain does all of this to you on purpose. Let me start by taking away the belief that makes nostalgia sting more than it ever should. When that wave of longing hits, you take it completely at face value. You assume it must mean the past really was better. Things were simpler back then. People were happier. Life was easier. And now, by comparison, everything feels harder and grayer and somehow worse. That belief feels totally true in the moment, and it is quietly a little poisonous because it turns your own memory into evidence that your best days are already behind you. But here's the thing. The past was not actually better. Your memory of it is. Nostalgia is not a recording of how things really were. It is a feeling your brain manufactures, and it edits the footage heavily before it ever shows it to you. Once you see how that editing works, the ache stops feeling like proof of anything and starts feeling like what it truly is. So here's the plan. I am going to walk you through 3 things. In order, first, why your memory literally rewrites the past to be rosier than you lived it. Second, why one particular era of your life, probably your teens and early 20s, feels more golden than any other. And third, the actual reason your brain bothers to do all of this, which turns out to be surprisingly kind. Let's start with the editing. The first thing to understand is that your memory quietly sands the past smooth. There is a well-documented quirk of human memory with a great name, the fading affect bias. Put simply, the emotions attached to your bad memories fade faster over time than the emotions attached to your good ones. So as the years pass, the sting of the boring, the stressful, the awkward, and the genuinely painful slowly drains away, while the warm glow of the good moments stubbornly hangs on. You are left holding a highlight reel, not a documentary. Your brain is not exactly lying to you. It is just slowly deleting the parts that hurt and keeping the parts that felt good until the whole era quietly averages out far sunnier than it ever actually was while you were living inside it. Here's the example you have absolutely lived. Think about a trip or a job or an entire year that was genuinely a bit of a disaster while it was happening. The delays, the arguments, the money stress, the days you could not wait for it to just be over. Give it a few years, and somehow it has transformed into the good old days. You tell the story now with a warmth that would have completely baffled the version of you actually grinding through it. I have a road trip like this. At the time, it was breakdowns, a broken air conditioner and brutal heat, one genuinely miserable argument in a parking lot, and almost no sleep. I complained the entire way. Now, 5 years later, it is one of my favorite memories. And I talk about it like it was magic. The chaos got sanded right off. What is left is the one perfect night, the laughing until it hurt, the feeling of being young and free and going somewhere. And here's the warning, the part that catches people completely off guard. This is exactly why you can feel real, aching nostalgia for a time, intellectually was hard. Your brain already edited out the hard part. So if you find yourself longing for a period you are certain was rough, you are not being irrational. You are just remembering the director's cut, with all the bad scenes quietly removed. The unsettling little bonus is that you are doing this to right now, too. Some ordinary, slightly annoying Tuesday you are living through this week will, in a few years, glow. That is either deeply comforting or slightly unsettling, depending on your mood. Comforting because it means the ordinary days you are half ignoring right now are quietly becoming the good old days you will one day miss, and they are yours to actually notice while they are still happening. And a little unsettling because it means you are almost certainly underrating your own life in real time. In the exact same way, you once underrated the year you now look back on so fondly. We are all a little nearsighted about our own present, but editing is only half of why the past shines. The other half is about when those memories were made. The second thing is that one specific era of your life is burned in far brighter than all the rest. Psychologists call it the reminiscence bump, and it is remarkably consistent across people. If you ask older adults to recall the most vivid and important memories of their entire lives, those memories do not spread out evenly across the decades. A huge cluster comes from roughly ages 15 to 25. That single decade, your teens and early 20s, takes up dramatically more of your memory than any other stretch of the same length. And there are solid reasons for it. That is when you were becoming who you are, actively forming your identity, So those experiences got tagged as deeply permanently important. It is also when you were doing almost everything for the very first time. First love, first heartbreak, first real freedom, first time out on your own in the world. And as we have talked about before on this channel, your brain stores novelty in rich, vivid detail, while routine fades into a gray blur. So that era, absolutely packed with firsts and identity-defining moments, gets encoded more powerfully than nearly anything that comes after it. Here's the example that will hit you instantly. Think about the music from when you were roughly 16 to 20. For most people, that is the music. Not necessarily the objectively best music ever made, but the music that feels like it means something. The songs that can drop you straight back into one specific summer in a single note. That is not a coincidence, and it is genuinely not that music was better back then. It is that those songs got wired into you during the reminiscence bump. At the exact age, your brain was recording everything at maximum vividness and tying all of it to who you were becoming. It is the same reason the movies, the games, and the slang from your teenage years feel definitive, like the real versions, and everything since feels like a slightly lesser copy. There is one song for me, and I will spare myself the embarrassment of naming it, that I heard constantly the summer I was 17. It is, objectively, not a great song. I am fully aware of this. And yet, the second it comes on, I am not a grown adult standing in my kitchen anymore. I am in the back of a friend's car with the windows down and absolutely no idea what my life was about to become. The song did not get better with time. It just got soldered to the single, most vividly recorded stretch of my entire life. And now it carries all of that weight in about 4 minutes. And here is the warning worth carrying with you. That golden era does not feel golden because it actually was the best time of your life. It feels golden because it is the most vividly stored time of your life. Those are two completely different things, and your brain confuses them constantly. There is one more trigger worth knowing, and it is the most powerful of all. Smell. Ever caught a specific scent? A sunscreen, a certain perfume, the inside of an old house, and been yanked back in time so hard it almost hurts? That is because the part of your brain that processes smell is wired directly into the regions that handle memory and emotion, more directly than any of your other senses. A smell can bypass all your defenses and detonate a memory instantly, which is why nostalgia so often arrives on a scent you did not even consciously notice. And this is honestly the whole reason I make this channel. So a quick thing. If you are enjoying having your own brain quietly explained to you like this, consider subscribing. That is genuinely the entire point of what we do here. One strange human quirk at a time. Okay, back to it, because we still have not answered the real question. Why does your brain do any of this at all? The third thing, and the part that reframes everything, is that nostalgia is not a flaw, and it is not just soft sentimentality. It is a tool, and a surprisingly powerful one. For a long time, people treated nostalgia as something almost unhealthy, a kind of wistful, self-indulgent dwelling in the past. But the researchers who actually studied it properly, notably a group at the University of Southampton, found close to the opposite. Nostalgia turns out to be genuinely good for you. When people are gently prompted to feel nostalgic, they report better moods, a stronger sense of being connected to other people, and a greater feeling that their life actually has meaning. Nostalgia reaches back into your past and pulls something forward, a reminder that you have been loved, that you have belonged somewhere, that your life is a single continuous story with real chapters in it, not just a scatter of disconnected days. It is not your brain trapping you in the past. It is your brain reaching back to comfort you in the present. And here's the tell that proves it. Pay close attention to when nostalgia actually hits you the hardest. It is rarely when everything is going great. It tends to surge when you are lonely, or stressed, or anxious, or standing in the middle of some big transition, moving somewhere new, starting over, losing something or someone. In other words, nostalgia shows up at exactly the moments you most need comforting. It is your mind's built-in response to feeling unmoored, quietly handing you evidence that you have had good times and real connections before, so that you can believe you will have them again. That bittersweetness, the ache mixed right in with the warmth, is not a malfunction or a design flaw. It is the entire point. The warmth soothes you, and the ache reminds you that these things genuinely mattered. Here's the example. And you can probably feel it in your chest already. The lonely first weeks in a new city, when you suddenly, desperately miss your old friends and your old routines and your old life. That is not weakness. And it is not really about the old city being objectively better. It is nostalgia doing its actual job, wrapping you in proof that you know how to belong somewhere. At the precise moment, you are terrified that you do not. It is worth knowing that this is powerful enough that entire industries run on it. Advertisers, movie studios, and politicians all reach for the good old days on purpose because they know that warm ache lowers your guard and makes you long for a simpler time that, in truth, was never quite as simple as the feeling insists. And here's the warning: the one real thing not to do with any of this. Do not mistake the ache for an instruction. Nostalgia is not telling you to go back or that the past is where you were supposed to stay. It is a comfort tool for moving forward, not a map pointing backward. The people who suffer most with it are the ones who read that warm feeling as proof that real life is already behind them. It is not. The feeling is a gift for right now, but there is a genuinely good way to use it if you want one. When nostalgia hits, treat it as a gentle nudge, not toward the past, but toward the people and the feelings inside it. Text the old friend if the memory is actually about. Recreate the feeling instead of the year. Go do the kind of thing that once made you feel that alive with the people you have in your life right now. Nostalgia is always pointing at something real that mattered to you. You just have to aim it forward instead of backward. So let me pull all of this together, because once you see it, that bittersweet ache becomes something you can actually hold in your hand instead of something that quietly wounds you. You learn that your memory sands the past, smooth through the fading affect bias, letting the pain of old times drain away while the good keeps glowing, which is exactly why you can genuinely miss a time that was, in fact, hard to live through. You learned about the reminiscence bump, why your teens and early 20s, so packed with firsts and identity, are stored so vividly that they feel like a golden age, even though vivid and golden are not remotely the same thing. And you learned that nostalgia itself is not a flaw at all. It is a psychological comfort tool that surges when you are lonely or in transition, lifting your mood and reminding you that you have belonged and been loved before and will again. And here is the part I really want you to keep, because it quietly changes what the feeling even means. When you ache for the past, you are not actually missing the time. Look a little closer. You are missing who you were in it, the version of you with almost everything still ahead, with that particular kind of open, unwritten, anything could happen future. You are missing the feeling, not the facts. And that is precisely why going back never actually works, because the thing you long for was never really a place or a year at all. It was a stage of your own life and a state of your own heart, and your brain wrapped the whole thing in warm golden light, so you would remember that your life has been full of meaning. That ache is not a sign that your best days are gone. It is living proof that you have already had days worth aching for, which quietly, beautifully means you are more than capable of having them again. There is a real freedom in that, if you let it land. It means you can finally stop treating your own past like a place you somehow got locked out of. You were not happier back then because the world was genuinely better. You were happy because you were young and everything was new and you were paying full attention. And the astonishing part is that at least two of those three things are still completely within your reach. At any age, on any ordinary day you actually decide to show up for. So the next time a song drops you into some golden afternoon that deep down you know was messier than you remember, do not fight it and do not fall all the way into it. Just let it be exactly what it is, a small, bittersweet gift from your own mind, reminding you that you have loved and belonged and been fully, achingly alive before. Feel the warmth, notice the ache, and then carry both of them forward into a present that will, one ordinary day, quietly become someone's golden afternoon too. Probably yours. So tell me down in the comments, because I genuinely love reading these. What is a time in your life you feel powerful nostalgia for? And be really honest with yourself. Was it actually as good as it feels in your memory now? Or did your brain quietly edit out all the rough parts? And what is the one song that instantly drops you straight back into being 17 years old? Name it below. And if you are feeling brave, name the year it belongs to, so we can all go quietly, ache about our own together. And if you want another one of these gentle little truths about the strange, surprisingly kind machine you happen to live inside, go watch the one on why time feels faster the older you get, because it is the exact same memory system, quietly and lovingly deciding what your whole life gets to feel like in the end. I'll see you over there, and thanks, as always, for spending a little of your present with me.